So Ben White, stop that bullshit. Let me finish what I'm about to say. Here's how you weaponize followership, because you even made a statement that agrees with what I'm about to say. The problem with most men today is that they encourage women to not follow. They encourage women to not follow by saying you can do whatever you want. No, the leaders, all leaders, cut off challenges to their leadership. That's what we're supposed to do as men. Cut off all challenges to your leadership. And I mean that in a government way. Why? The reason, like I'm telling you right now, I don't even blame the women. Women never knew how wicked they can be until we gave them the opportunity to do so.
Oh, that's a ball.
That's America's biggest mistake.
So I agree with that, Trigger Mike. I thought my response was submission requires so much vulnerability. We should never weaponize that against.
No, we're not going to weaponize. What I mean is that their followership. So the reason it's called no fault divorce is because we don't fault them for anything. That means that they could just fall for another dude, divorce you, take your kids. Hold on, God. Hold on.
I've never heard of that ever.
Hold on. They could divorce you, take your kids, and go get with another nigga. And there's no fault for any of that.
I'm leaving. I'm done.
If a woman decides to fall in love with another dude, she's just not feeling her husband anymore, and she leaves him, should he get custody of the kids based off her wanting to dissolve the relationship where he did not do anything wrong?
The children should go with the parent that is most capable. Let me tell you something about. Let me give you a little story about no fault divorce. My very, very best friend in this whole entire world since junior high school lives in West Palm Beach, Florida, right? Her husband cheated on her, but she makes more money. Her husband cheated on her, and they got a divorce, and she had to pay him. Do you hear what I'm saying? She had to pay him because of no fault. So when you talk about no fault, it does not have a gender on it.
Nobody
didn't
said
say it
that.
did.
You just literally sat up here.
He just gave an example.
So I'm gonna accept what you said and say and correct it by saying no fault divorce applies to everybody. So the woman shouldn't have to pay.
You didn't say that 2 seconds ago.
Well, that was definitely something speaking in generalities because either person can divorce.
Generalize your ass on.
I think you just jumped
it.
2:30. This is the goofy shit that people do, right?
I'm tired of the
somebody gives an example of something, and then you take that as
for 4 hours.
No, they pick pieces to make a case, bro. They pick pieces.
Right. This don't even make any sense. He just simply gave an example of a woman leaving her husband if she cheated on him.
Here's the problem I got with this.
To go out of their way to try to make you feel like you are hearing shit.
So when he gave the example of an instance where no fault divorce comes into play, a woman can cheat on her husband and run off with the man and with another man and the children, and there's nothing that can be done about that. That is an example of no fault divorce. And then you said that's not no fault divorce, and then you turned around and just gave an example of the very same thing, but in that instance, it was the man that was in a position where he can cheat on his wife and run off with the kid and get alimony checks. Both of them are still examples of no fault divorce where somebody, because what a no fault divorce is that I can divorce you for any reason and it cannot be for, and none of us can be at fault for it. So that means if I did something wrong, I can divorce you and still get the benefits of divorce, or you can divorce me if you've done something wrong and still get the benefits of divorce. No fault divorce, a legal process that allows a couple to end their marriage without either party having to prove wrongdoing. The only problem with that is the person who makes the most money tend to be the one that gets the short end of the stick.
Which is usually the man.
The person who has the children the most, the person who has to work more tends to get the short end of the stick. So when a mother says, "Oh, but he worked 60 hours a week, and I'm home for at least 20. I'm home about 15 hours longer than him," she gets full custody, even though she was at fault for the divorce. But in a no fault state, they can't say since you breaking up your home, he gets the children.
Mm.
They're going to say, no, we got to treat y'all both fair. But in fair, that means that he gets the short end of the stick. He still loses his family. He still loses his children. Or in DJ Lovely's example, a nigga cheated on his wife, and because she made more money than him, she got the short end of the stick, even though he fucked up the marriage. In a fault divorce, they'd have looked at that dude and said, hey, you fucked up your marriage, you get nothing.
Here's the worst part about it, though, because I think you believe that we're actually misogynist, like we weren't going to agree that is also a bad situation, and that woman should not have to pay that dude for that. That is what we're talking about. We don't make it in a man's favor. Just make it fair.
They literally just did make it in a man's favor.
Just make it fair for all parties involved. That is what we want.
Y'all literally
hold on.
Until I presented
we are now in a state. Hold on. We are now in a state of crisis in America, where the average kid. I thought it was just black boys that had a deficit on their reading level. The average reading level of all children is like 6th grade. So we have a huge issue now because broken families are so abundant. I told somebody, it's like we could fix the literacy issue in 1 year if we want to, because I personally believe, as a family man, the parents are responsible for the quality of the children's education. Parents are responsible for that. So while we're trying to hold the school accountable, school is an assessment zone. Most of the people in school that do well knew the shit before they got there. And you know who we gotta empower to help the children? Their mothers. So we gotta be in the same house. You fix the literacy problems by giving moms enough grace and time and rest to read to their children at night. That's why niggas can't read.
And I think they should give what's the word? They should give, like how they giving single moms assistance, dads that has a certain amount of kids and works a certain amount and taking care of the household. They should get assistance. I feel like if they did it that way versus the other way around, then more fathers would be in the household. If they got the assistance that a lot of single mothers get, the working single dads get the assistance,
I think if y'all look at what these people doing with the government, they're about to dismantle this whole shit, man. This whole thing. And really what it is, if we want to see more families created, just take out all the artificial means that they use to break up the family. When two people got humans are extremely resilient. We're resilient. You know how you're afraid to leave a baby alone when it's young, but it lived. The baby don't want to die. You see what I'm saying? It can hold its head up. It can roll over so it don't choke. You see what I'm saying? It's like humans are.
I ain't gonna lie though. I agree with a lot of stuff Trump doing right now though. I kind of went team Trump, and everybody looking at me like I'm crazy, and I'm like, everything that was my main concern was all the first shit he spoke about. We cutting out, calling these kids what's the name. We did the migration policy back in order. We're gonna do something with the Department of Education. I'm like, damn, he hitting all the shit on the head though. I can't even
I can tell you, if you
y'all know
can't even say shit.
Y'all know that Mac Gates. Go ahead. Sorry.
If you reserved a lot of the government subsidies and things that they hand out to just married families, imagine that. Imagine if they told you couldn't get food stamps unless you was married.
Oh, you see what I'm encourage? That's what I'm saying. Encourage that stuff and watch what happens.
Yeah. So y'all think that's gonna work? Y'all think that's gonna help?
The Democratic Party and the Republican Party presented to them so they had no choice. Let's get
they ain't gonna do nothing but create more homosexual guys that's trying to move in with chicks so they can survive.
The reason it is gonna work, Darwin, is the same reason we have the system we have today. It's incentive based. Men are actually not the X factor in this. The reason why we don't talk to men is because accountability is already built into the system for men, and men are also easily programmable by other men. We don't ever got to worry about the men. All we got to do is show up outside and tell all the men what they need to do for a certain benefit, clap for them while they're doing it, and all the men gonna fall in line. All the criminals, we'll round them up, throw them in jail. That's what we do anyway now, right? Men are really programmable by other men. It's the women. We give y'all incentive to behave all crazy and not to be in agreement with us. So when we remove that incentive, hold on, Darwin, you'll see, right? I just want y'all to notice a movement going on right now. the election showed it that white women. Remember when I said this on Lapeef Let's Talk? I said white women are cold-blooded because what they're doing is they started feminism and now they want to retreat because it's breaking up the family. White women have always had one thing that they did well. They are man pleasers. And the mothers used to be very proud to pass their daughters off to husbands. Y'all remember when it used to be shameful if one of your daughters wasn't married? Yeah, that shit's still happening in their ranks, right? So what they did was like, oh, damn, we toxic. We out here pretending we don't need these men, but our children fucking up. I got 2 sons in jail. Oh, shit. So what they did was they're retreating slowly and acting like they never did that shit in the first place.
Man, them white girls just as out of line as black girls. Man, I don't buy that. Them white girls out of line too.
But no, that's but what I'm saying is the reason they voted for Trump in such mass numbers, they did that to be in alignment with their men.